right, let's start with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratishthitam mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravir edi vedasyama anistha shrutam me ma prahasi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is again Vishwamitra Gathina. Continues the same Vishwamitra, not his children or grandchildren, himself. So praya aruh shiti prishthasya dhaseh amatara vivishuh saptavanich parikshita pitara samcharete prasarasrate dirgham ayuh prayakshe. They who have climbed from the dark-backed foundation have entered the father and mother, have entered into the seven voices. The father and mother who dwell encompassing all move abroad and go forward to give by sacrifice long extended the life.
Vladimir, what are the seven voices?
Yeah, it's a question. Seven voices, well, seven expressions of consciousness on seven levels of being. Yeah? The complete manifestation of consciousness on every level of being. Voice usually is associated, Vani in this case, sometimes Gir, is associated with this. Giving a voice means giving consciousness place in the being, which is not really related to this being totally yet, but which is forming it, formatting it, making it suitable for this consciousness. So the same idea of the word and the voice. Voice is an action of the word. The word is the logos, the will of the divine, which manifests the worlds. The intention, which wants to be expressed in the being. So seven voices means, well, seven rishis, if you will. Seven rishis are the sons of Brahman, of the Creator, who manifest the universe. Yeah? Also possible reading. Or seven voices on each plane, there is an expression of the divine consciousness. And interestingly, who have climbed from the dark-backed foundation, they have entered the father and mother. They have entered into the seven voices. Maybe also seven voices are here, Vani, are seven streams of consciousness, seven rivers. Oh, we know only about three of them. This is Ila, Saraswati, Mahi, and they will be mentioned here. At least Ila will be mentioned at the end. Again, voice. Voice of revelation of consciousness, Ila. Yeah, Saraswati is the word proper, the divine hearing, and Mahi is the greatness which is bringing it into time and space. And there are four rivers above. These are the three rivers of the supermind, but there are also four streams above of Sat Chit Tapasananda, yes, or Varuna Mitra Aryaman Bhaga. There are also rivers, but they are not named. Only these three rivers are named, yeah? Ila, Saraswati, Mahi. But seven streams, seven rivers are mentioned, and they can be the voices. It's a very strange word, Vani, as the voice. It's actually in the basis is the root Va, and Va is from which it's to blow, to flow. It is something which is blowing, flowing, current. The voice is the current, yeah? Is the stream of energy, stream which connects one state of consciousness with the other. Yeah, because of this particular sense of etymology, we can go deeper always into the meaning of the word, of the speech, of communication. What is communication? Is connecting one poise of consciousness with the other and making them one, or focusing them on one particular topic, both of them, yes? It binds us, it connects us. The word connects us. Notice we operate always by the word among one another, not so much by the deeds, more by the words. We speak non-stop. Nobody can stop us. We want to speak. Why? Not because that we have something to say, really, but we want to say something. That's why we speak. We are looking for that opportunity to express the consciousness. Did you notice this? Yeah? Very little is needed to trigger this kind of thing. And then we are carried away because we are looking for that expression. Come to us. While we speak, while we tuning more and more to that expression, we are looking for it through the word. These are vanis, saptavanis. There are people who deliver speech. They prepare it, they write it down, they read it, and you have it. Of course, when they were writing down, preparing, they were also connecting, seeking for that self-expression. It's not so simple. But there are people who are looking it in the moment of time for that particular true connection. So the first type are more visual people, those who see, and the second type are more those who are hearing. They want to have that, connection through the word. All right. So my interpretation, those flames who climbed out of the dark foundation have entered into the two mothers, literally two mothers, which can be translated as parents, actually, mother and father. It's quite interesting. You see, in the first verse is Matara, two mothers. In the second line is Pitara, two fathers. And both are translated as parents. Two mothers and is parents, and two fathers is also the same meaning, parents. Parents is also from Pitri, Pitar, parent. Yeah, most probably, I do not know, or maybe from something else. Pair. This duality of father and mother is quite strange. In Sanskrit, Matara is parents, the same as Pitara is parents. But it could be also two mothers. So have entered the father and mother, or they've entered into the two mothers. Sri Aurobindo makes the distinction between these two. He says when there are two mothers in the two feminine genders are mentioned, can be both, Matara, feminine and masculine gender. Then when it is feminine, then it means the physical and mental consciousness. But when there is father and mother, it means spirit and nature mainly, or spirit and matter. So it could be that they entered into both firmaments of the physical and mental consciousness. And seven voices. The two parents move together, dwelling around all, streaming forward to sacrifice the long life force. It's my interpretation. Sri Aurobindo gives a bit different take. So he takes it in this way. The father and mother who dwell encompassing all move abroad and go forward to give by sacrifice long extended the life. So the sacrifice is long extended, and that sacrifice gives life constantly. It is by sacrifice that life is manifested, which makes totally sense, yes? Life is the result of this constant, long extended sacrifice by the father and mother, by the two firmaments. Otherwise, how this life could live, why it should live and give life to life, if there is no first life or long extended sacrifice. That's why everything in nature is the sacrifice. The greenery sacrifices itself to life of other creatures sacrifice themselves to the creatures. So everything eats everything and lives and goes on. The ongoing, long extended sacrifice actually establishes life. I also added Griffith in case somebody wants to see how it is being translated by somebody else. The seven tones risen, the seven tones risen from the white-backed viand have made their way between the pair of mothers, both circumjacent, some ancient words, parents, come together to yield us length of days they hasten forward. quite a mouthful. Both circumjacent, don't know what it is, kind of encompassing parents come together to yield us length of days, they hasten forward to give us length of days. He finds a poetic way of saying it, extending the long life.
Vladimir, circumjacent might be like adjacent, only around.
Oh, yes, I understand now. Yes, thank you. Circumjacent. So, and he translates white back. It's also interesting word. Shiti can be white and can be black. White and black both. Sri Aurobindo translates dark back to foundation. I'm also following dark. So those who climbed out from the dark back, whose back is dark, black foundation, have entered into the two mothers. So everything which is rising, the flames which are rising from the darkness of the inconscient, they enter into this father and mother, or physical and mental consciousness, into our Hiranyagarbha. It's kind of interesting that there is a distinction between the physicality, physical consciousness, and the inconscient. And I think it is totally correct, according to the integral yoga. Yes? Physical is not the inconscient. It's already conscious being physical. There is consciousness there, manifested in the form. And Vishwamitra will speak about this in the next verse. Divakshaso dhenavo vrishno ashva divich atasthav madhumat vahantich ritasyatva sadasi kshemayantam pari ekacharati vartanim gauch. He reached the milk cows that dwell in heaven, the mares of the male, the divine rivers that carry in their flow the sweetness. The one light moves on the way around thee. The one light moves on the way around thee when thou seekest thy dwelling in the house of the truth. He approached the divine nourishing cows with the milk of knowledge, dwelling in heavenly light, and the sweet swiftnesses mares of the Creator, carrying their sweetness of delight. The one cow moves around you on the path, the one light who seeks the dwelling in the house of the truth. The truth that is upholding all the beings in their movements. There's something interesting here about one light. He approaches the divine nourishing cows, yes, or he reached the milk cows that dwell in heaven, Divakshasach, Dhenavach, Atasthav. He reached, or he came to, or he approached to these heavenly dwelling, nourishing beings, nourishing with the milk of knowledge. Milk is always knowledge in the Veda. The honey is the delight, the ananda, the bliss. Yeah? So the milk and honey, it's everywhere. Actually, it's in many traditions, milk and honey. Yeah? In Greek tradition, in the Christian tradition, milk and honey are these expressions of a higher consciousness and enjoyment, knowledge and bliss. And both of them are mentioned in this line, yes? These cows which are feeding you, Dhenavach. Dhenu is the feeding cow, nourishing with the milk, and the Ashvaha, mares of Vrishna, of Vrishan, of the one Lord, the Creator, the conceiver of beings. These Devis, these shining streams, he approached Atasthau, who Vahanti carry Madhumat, the sweetness in themselves. Ritasyatva sadasi kshemayantam, and you who is seeking the dwelling in the seating of the truth, pari eka, the one gau, the one ray of light, the one cow is encompassing you, or is, how to say, moves around you. Pari charati, pari around, charati moves. Eka, one gau, one cow or one ray of light moves on the path around you. So the one light is accompanying him from all sides. The one who seeks the dwelling in the dynamic truth. And a dynamic truth is, I'm putting this long sentence, that truth which upholds all the beings and their movements. If we can imagine that, the truth which upholds all the beings in their movements, it is in that place, in that dwelling, that he seeks his settlement. And when he does so, he is accompanied and embraced by one light from all sides. So many associations with this kind of statement, yeah? One, why one light? Quite interesting. It gives us some sense of uninterrupted effort or intention, which is supported, already cognized by one consciousness, because he seeks the oneness of that dynamic truth which supports all the beings in their movements. One truth in all. So when we intend to find the very truth which supports all beings, all manifestation, when we are looking for the divine, the central light of knowledge, then we will be supported by this very central light of knowledge. That's what it tells me. If we are seeking some other smaller realizations, and many types of knowledge we may seek, but which is not central, then there will be many cows to support us in our movement. But not one light, not one cow with one milk nourishing us. All right, you will share your thoughts. Yeah, you can cut in anytime and do this, because it is going on and then we forget. In case you have some ideas, Kinshoku probably has something to say. No? About one cow? Many cows? Asim arohat suyama bhavantih patih chikitvan raivid rainam pranila prishtho atasasya dhaseh ta avasayat purudha pratikah. On every side he ascends them and they become easy to control. He awakes to knowledge and is the Lord and discoverer of the riches. Fire with his blue back and many diverse faces brings them from the ever-moving foundation to a settled dwelling. He climbs onto them who are easy to tame. He is the Lord, becoming conscious, he discovers the luminous wealth. The fire with blue back and manifold surfaces settles them firm, away from their unstable foundation. So these rising or these streams are being settled firm. That means they are brought into action to make a formation in this manifestation. There's something happening. This is a secret knowledge, most probably we will never be able to know, but there is this transition from the unsettled or fluid state of the idea to the settled being with a firm foundation. So he climbs onto them who are easy to tame. And he is the Lord becoming conscious. He discovers the luminous wealth, the fire with blue back and manifold surfaces settles them firm, away from the unstable foundation. There's something interesting. He climbs onto these higher forces, the fire from below, from this, inconscient foundation. And by that, he his blue back and manifold surfaces, he settles them firm. He pulls them down, as it were, into this Hiranyagarbha, into this mental and physical consciousness, away from their flux and flexible state of existence into the stable foundation. It could be, the other translations are totally incoherent, truly speaking. If you look into the Griffith, wise master, wealthy founder out of riches, he mounted those who may with case be guided, he dog-backed, manifold with varied aspect, has made them burst forth from their food, the brushwood. So you make no, there is no idea whatsoever from here. It's very, very basic physical bursting of flames out of the wood, crust of the wood, brushwood. I don't think it is that. That would be a failure of the whole hymn and idea to come to that level. But this climbing of the inconscient flame, which is rising, the divine rising from inconscient, he is absolutely conscious, but he is with these blue back, with the dark, from the dark top he is rising and climbing onto them, onto these which we read before, the Hernavach, and these mares and supporting streams and cows with their milk and honey, carrying within themselves the honey, these streams, these floods, supported by one light on his path, seeking the one house of the truth, which supports all the beings in their movement, then he climbs onto them who are easy to tame, suyama bhavantihi. They're really easy to control, easy to make your own, to join your movement, yes, his movement in this case. Patih, he's the Lord. Chikitwan, he's the conscious one, aware, self-aware Lord. Raivid, finding, discovering the wealth, Rainam, of all the wealths, all the riches, he discovers the true wealth. Sanila Prishta, his Prishta, his back is Nila, blue. Atasasya Dhasech, and of this shaky foundation, Shabindra translates Atasasya as of shaky, Dhasech of foundation. Tach Avasayat, he establishes those, or he makes them dwell, settles them firmly. Purudha Pratikach, the one who has many different faces, many-faced Lord, or many surfaces. So, of course, it is a very occult knowledge and profound experience, which is so I think this is the process of manifestation here, how the forms of being, all the forms of the greenery or animals come into being. We can see it in the next verse, which is confirming this idea. Mahi Tvashtram, the force of Tvashtri, who makes the ladle for Soma, that animated matter for the first time. Mahi Tvashtram Urjayantich Ajuriam Stabhuyamanam Vahato Vahanti Vi Angebhich Didyutanach Sadhasthe. This Sandhi Ekami Varodasi Avivesha. The rivers energized and bear his mighty force of formation, firmly fixed and undecaying. He shines out wide with his limbs in the world of his session, and has entered earth and heaven as if they were one. The streams energizing the great force of formation. So those streams which he tamed easily, they now energize the great force of formation, which is unchanging and firm. Bear it within, or carry it forward. They carry. So the streams, by energizing the great force of formation, which is unchanging and firm, bear it within themselves, bear it forward within themselves. And in the common gathering, he shines in all his aspects, as if the one being, he entered both luminous firmaments. We can understand that this is the very process of manifestation of forms by the divine, calling from within the inconscient and receiving the support of the streams, which are easy to tame from above, who carry in themselves the very idea of formation, the great force of formation, which is unchanging and firm, like an idea, of what is to be done. They have it within themselves. And he, by taming them, makes this possible. And then he is shining in all his aspects, in this common gathering, in the gathering where all of them are one. And as if one being, he enters these two luminous firmaments, heaven and earth, father and mother of all the prajas. All right, I will stop here because my head is already spinning. So usually it's not a bad sign when the head is spinning. And if you have anything to say, to ask, to clarify, have your own thoughts, please share. I know it is a little bit too cosmic today.
Vladimir, to me, besides talking about manifestation, it's also talking about the pull towards evolution, that this constantly talking about forward, that innate in the creation from the fluid, there is this pull towards, and when it talked about settled, it seemed like that wasn't the next stage, but then there's this pull towards the next stage.
Yes, you notice that. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yes, there is always this settlement is not to constant, is not absolute settlement. Yeah, this settlement is needed in the form because we have to proceed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this idea what you got for the of the evolution is the central idea, always forward, always moving forward, always manifesting, rising, coming to the surface, shining in new aspects. There's always this transformative idea.
Yeah, ever moving foundation.
It could be read, yeah, in different ways. Ever moving foundation as unstable, as something in flux, or it can be the ever moving forward foundation, the truth. You can interpret it in your way. And both would be correct. We are seeking Saptavani, yes, we are seeking 7 voices, voices on all the levels. Yeah? It's not enough to have the voice on one level only, or so we need, and that's what when I say that both are correct, it's actually the mind which has that position where these two are correct. They are not contradictory, actually. Because one truth on one level is that it has to be fixed. Yeah? It must be fixed in this space. If I'm not fixed, how can I change anything? It's like, and on the other level, the ever kind of moving foundation is the foundation is to proceed. It has to change. So there is a level of the truth where the foundation is steady. But through the dynamism of time and space, it has to be maintained or has to proceed. The truth has to be always found and always referred to or related to. It's like the amsha we discussed the other day. Amsha is the portion, yes, from which our soul is coming into being, the middle part of the supermind, the many in one and one in many. So this portion idea has, as if you look at it as a part of itself, as a part away from the oneness, yes, portion, only portion of the whole. It's not the whole, it's a portion. Or you look at it, a portion is a part of the whole, yeah? Not away, but which belongs to the whole. So both ideas are correct in one word, yeah? Though to the mind they are contradictory. They're just the opposite. I want to say that we need the mind where different voices can be heard from different planes. And we should not be easily bewildered. We should not take one voice over the other. We should be able to shift, to slide from one to the other, from upper to lower, from lower to upper. This, I think we are kind of looking for this capacity in the Veda. Otherwise, why should we really do this exercise altogether? Yeah, some other voice?
Oh, Vladimir, I was thinking of easy to tame. So something is happening when he is rising and he makes these different dynamic streams, each of which represents truth also, um, somehow tamed into one truth and therefore one stability. So each of these seven voices then are dynamically true, but something tames them into the one. That's and somehow I also thought of this is what the moving pilgrim rite is all about. This is the move, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, the idea of taming, controlling is interesting in one regard, that why they should be tamed. Are they wild? Are they out of control? Yes, they are. They do not have the relation to the manifestation of the form yet. The formation of the form will make them, focused, or related, tamed, controlled. And then they will have a purpose. So they will embody their meaning in time and space. Otherwise, they are out of time and space, in their free world, like the gods. When the gods come down for the sacrifice, invited to participate, they are becoming somewhat tamed, controlled by the form, by the purpose, by the relation to what they are receiving. So by receiving the offering, they are tied to the offering. They're tied to the work to be done in this being. They don't want that, but they are drawn to the offering. So it's a kind of bargaining chip, They want to enjoy the divine manifestation, the supreme manifestation in time and space, because it's a unique representative of the supreme, and it is very attractive, that soma, soma yaga, offering the delight of existence to them, is quite an attractive proposition. And at the same time, when they partake of it, something happens to them. They may change, they may grow in consciousness, and grow even to, as the Veda would say, to reach to this supreme throne from which they would see Aditi and Diti, as the Supreme sees both, transcendental in this world. So they want to have that kind of capacity of the Supreme, and the only way to get there is to participate in the sacrifice. So these Godheads, they come down, they are tamed for a while by the form, the formation of manifestation. And they have a purpose now to support that formation and growth and evolution of the form, and they do it because there is a flame within which is constantly calling and bringing them down to work here on the form. So this double process, yes, is taking place always.
Vladimir, I have a question here. But aren't the gods typal beings? So
Yeah.
how can they evolve?
Yeah, they can evolve only through the sacrifice. Yes, that's what Mother says also. That if these beings, gods and rakshasas, asuras, want to change, to evolve, they have to take the earthly body. They have to be embodied. There is no other way for them to evolve. So it's an interesting question, because when they come to help the soul to grow, they are not really embodied yet. They are not separately embodied as separate beings. But something happens through Soma. Soma is that delight which is typically earthly delight, that sensual delight of taste, of smell, of beautiful light, beautiful sound, which is in the physical world. So extraction of that delight, very subtle delight, is the food for them. But that delight is an experience of the soul, of Yajamana. Without Yajamana, Soma cannot be produced. So Yajamana, our soul, is producing this experiential delight which they want to partake of. They love that thing. And through that delight, they get the idea or the shift, what it is to be embodied. Something similar what Mother did with Durga, if you remember. Durga is a typal being, but when she invited her to try her psychic being, try to wear her psychic being, Durga, when she tried to be that psychic being of the Mother, she said, wow, she never knew what is to love the divine. She never had that sense of love towards the divine, because only we embodied beings, psychic beings, have that love. The gods, they think they are the divine. They don't have love for the divine. They don't love the divine. They think they are the divine. So in that sense, when they come down to Yajamana's experience, they have that new sense, evolutionary sense, spiritually evolutionary sense of development through our experience. They are drawn to this experience of Yajamana, because Yajamana, the soul within us, is the supreme in the individual form. It's only a spark, but he is there. And he experiences this world as Adhyajna, as Sri Krishna says in the Gita, I am Adhyajna in the heart of every man. In the psychic being within, there is the Supreme Lord, Purushottama, who partakes of all the sacrifices. And they want that also. And they are the forces, or universal forces, typal, yes, but they change through the sacrifice. May change through the sacrifice, let us say that way. And by this process, the whole cosmos evolves. It is our payment to the cosmos. If we want to change cosmos, actually, universe, these universal devatas which are standing behind nakshatras, it is through that, in the Upanishads, it is described very interestingly in the Pitriyana, we spoke about this. Yeah? When the soul goes to the moon after death, so it gives away all its soma experience to the devatas. They eat it. The devatas who invested into our being, they come back to get their percentage, you know. So they get all that experience we had during our life. And where does it go? Why do they want it? Because this is the investment into the cosmic development. This is our way to pay back the debt. Rinam, the universal debt we pay to the cosmos. We received from the cosmos everything, the body, the physical body, the vital body, the mental body, all our instruments are from the cosmos. And behind those elements there are devatas. Yes? They kind of constituted for us this possibility, this formation which we read today in the hymn. It is happening this way. Yeah? Which he described so beautifully. You can nearly see how it happens.
Yeah.
And then we, as a Yajamana, involved supreme, we start experiencing these relations in time and space. And that is Soma, the delight. And that delight is the currency, the pure gold for the devatas. They want it, because for that purpose they are attracted. They are attracted to us and to the sacrifice because of that delight, unique delight. Everything comes together. If you look at all the constituents of this sacrifice, and the devatas, and the yajamana, and the divine behind, everything comes really beautifully together.
Yeah, Vladimir. The concept when you mentioned God's debt, that was so beautiful that I was reminded of Nolinida talking about that as the very first concept in his narration of Savitri, or his elaboration. He was probably the only one who brought it all together in Bengali, and his English articles are very profound. God's debt and the mutual debt between God and man, which can be very hard to understand. Usually the junior has a debt towards the supervisor in a hierarchy, but God's debt is the most profound thing, probably, because divine is supposed to take care of child, of its procreation. And yeah, it's spiritual goosebumps again when you said that. So
Yeah, the gods, we are all in, yes, Krishna describes this very beautifully, that you remember in chapter 2 or 3, that Prajapati created this world with devas and by sacrifice, yeah, sacrifice, again sacrifice, into Sahayajñah, together with sacrifice, Prajah Srishtva, having created all the creatures, Purovacha Prajapatih, Prajapati spoke to them, Anena, by this sacrifice, Prasavishyadvam, you support each other, or you evolve, grow. Evavo, Astu, Ishtakamadhuk, this will be your cow of desires. Cow which realizes all the desires will be this, sacrifice. And now he continues, Devan bhavayata nena, te deva bhavayantuvah. Support these gods by the sacrifice, and these gods will support you in return. Parasparam bhavayantak, supporting each other in this way, shreyach param avapsyat. You will get the highest good together. This is something, it was prearranged like this. So these typal devatas, these are cosmic forces, or those easily to tame, nourishing cows and swiftnesses and streams carrying bliss, they are a part of this formation of the being. Without them, it would not come into existence, simply. There is no such thing as by itself appearing from nowhere. So they are all part of this process, long, tardy process of evolution. And these typal devatas, they are constantly there from the beginning of time to support this formation of the instruments of the bodies, which will be open to the spirit. But interestingly, they benefit from it also. They are typal, but they're still benefiting from it. Something is happening to them. Slowly they change their qualities. They're not the same gods, old gods that were before from the beginning of time. They change, they evolved. There are new gods, there are old gods, there are new, newly evolving gods. Evolving is a big word to say because they don't evolve, but they change. They evolve through us.
More expansion at the edge of the cosmos, I guess. If I have to look at devas encompassing the breadth of the universe.
And they are also instrumental to the divine, yes, as we know, as we understand. It is the divine in the particular formation to support the evolution of himself to be many. So he has many facets and many instruments ready to engage to support this evolution in the form. So, of course, they have their own self-awareness, their own egoism. They also in this process, they became some kind of personalities, and they have their characters and fancies and likings and dislikings. They're not just doing whatever the divine wants, But that is the beauty of the freedom, which is also a part of the whole deal, because the Supreme is totally free, an absolute egoist, the Supreme.
I guess they have their own democracy, divine democracy. I can do what I want, kind of.
Right. Democracy, autocracy, they have all kinds of things, yes, whatever our mind can formulate, yes, they have.
One
And it
question.
is a part of the deal, package.
Package, yeah. Oh, no, one question I had. You mentioned Sri Krishna, so he has gone into so many colors or varnas, if I may use that word, for his personality or the way it's projected. So Makhan Chor, or the robbing of butter and cheese in childhood, to growing up, with Shishupal crossing the 99th time of mistakes and coming out with Sudarshan Chakra to slash the head. Of course, there's deep symbolism in all of it. And of course, being naughty with 16,000 gopiyas, which is also symbolic of the 16,000 nadis, projected as females on the planet. So yeah, that just came to me when you said they have their naughtiness, their egos. Yeah.
This is another language, yes. We are using an earthly language to speak about things which are far beyond it. But we're kind of building the picture which will resemble or be symbolic of what is really happening. Yeah? The Rigveda has its own language, which is closer to that truth, universal truth. We can see how it is being beautifully used, and especially if you know the language, Sanskrit, you would feel much more because each word has a depth, etymological depth, and the choice of the words is very important. Later in the mental structure, which we come to gopis and so on, it becomes more mental in a way, more symbolic, which is also fine because we are using that language, but it is not so anymore. It is not, how to say, connected to the etymology of the word and its power to manifest the truth. It is more like a picture, more pictorial. It becomes more symbolic in terms of visions, which are outer. Language is disconnected from the picture. Here, language, the word is still part of it. It generates the vision. The word, the etymology generates the vision. Whereas in the post-Vedic, it is different. The
Images.
word is only a token to create an image which we already have. And through that image, imaging it, we may arrive at some symbolism of the spiritual event. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if there are no more questions or remarks, I will close with the mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.